At the local level, the impacts of climate and environmental change can be acute, prompting calls for adaptation and mitigation to become a local responsibility. The government's net zero strategy found that 30% of UK greenhouse gas emissions rely directly on local authority involvement, while 82% of emissions are within local authorities' scope of influence. So how does the work of local government fit into the national net zero picture? Although there are currently no legally binding targets for local authorities, many have adopted ambitious commitments to reduce carbon emissions. According to the Local Government Association, over 300 local authorities have declared climate emergencies, with nearly two-thirds of councils in England aiming to be carbon neutral 20 years before the national 2050 target. The challenge for local authorities is that every region and community will experience climate change differently. Examples of this relate to flood or fire risk, air quality, and water shortages. Local socio-economic factors also present specific challenges in the transition to net zero. Hotspots of net zero activity are already evident due to local natural capital advantages, while there are similar concentrations of carbon-intensive industries in certain regions. The 2021 Independent Review of Net Zero found that where areas have already suffered from deindustrialization, it is crucial that green industries contribute positively to their economies and regional identities in future. Despite the wide-ranging challenges facing local authorities, a short list of key policy areas is emerging. These include improvements to energy efficiency and heating in buildings, achieved through retrofitting and updated standards for new builds, shaping sustainable infrastructure and renewable energy development through local planning authorities, developing and delivering heat network connections, and encouraging active travel, decarbonising public transport, and installing public charging for EVs. The voluntary organisation Climate Emergency UK has assessed councils on the actions they've taken towards net zero across 7 key areas and published the results as climate scorecards. These scorecards aim to bring together data and measure the relative strengths of climate action. Despite much progress, barriers to local government's delivery of net zero remain. Reports by the National Audit Office, the Levelling Up Housing and Community Select Committee, and the Independent Review of Net Zero have highlighted areas such as the lack of strategic targets, fragmented funding, and inconsistent reporting, as well as a lack of the skills and capacity required to tackle climate change. Recommended improvements include reforming local and national planning, simplifying the funding landscape, and backing trailblazer net zero projects such as a net zero city, local authority, and community. If you'd like to find out more about the role of local government in delivering net zero, please visit these resources.